Hey guys, welcome back. Welcome to part 2. Yes, I'm wearing the same clothes. You guys left, but I didn't. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go ahead and watch part 1, which I'll leave right here, and we go more in depth about understanding mommy issues. Today we're gonna tackle mommy issues when it comes to the boys. So boys, it's your turn. Even ladies, you can stay too, because maybe you'll relate to some of the things. Sometimes the things overlap. And the reason why they can overlap is because our parents can affect us in similar ways, but the reasoning behind it is different because of the roles of either parent. So let's go into the sign. So let's talk about how this affects the boys. So boys, when you don't have a healthy connection or attachment with your mom, it can be very hard to be able to have healthy connections with other females, which this will lead to a continuous cycle of lack of trust and a fear of abandonment. And also it could lead to a fear of connection as well. And this happens because like when you have a mom that you can't really trust, she also will probably also instill that you can't really trust yourself either. And so what happens when you don't trust yourself, you then will trust what is familiar. And what's familiar is usually the wound that your mom had caused. And not only that, but the way you deal with that wound is by being friends or maybe dating someone that's similar to your mom, because subconsciously it is a way to get your mom's approval by getting the approval of others that are similar to her. So if your mom was overly critical, you may surround yourself around women that are overly critical, or you may date someone that's overly critical. Or if your mom wasn't very physically affectionate, you may lean more towards a person that is not very affectionate or maybe a little bit more withdrawn. And so this reinforces that feeling of not enough and that you deserve this, and then you'll continuously surround yourself around these people. So that's why you gotta work on these mommy issues and really learn to trust yourself so you don't wind up around these people. So let's jump into the sign. Sign number 1 is anger issues. Now, anger often is a secondary emotion. Anger, there is a reason why anger exists. It's supposed to be there for when you feel like there's injustice or you're being treated unfairly. But if that's not going on, then usually that anger is to cover up something else. That anger is to cover up pain, and also it's to cover up the fact that you're not dealing with your emotions. And this is because you had a mother that most likely did not make it a safe place where you could express yourself, where you could be vulnerable, where she would nurture you through whatever you were feeling and made it okay. You may have been taught that it's weak. You maybe were emasculated. You maybe were taught that only little babies cry, or that feelings are only for girls and you have to man up. So this taught you that feelings are for the weak and you have to suppress those feelings. And what happens with suppression is you then don't realize how you're feeling, or you try to belittle it, or you try to dismiss it, push it away. So then a feeling has to come out some way, so it may come out in anger. So you may get angry at small things. Maybe when something's not going in your favor, you get pissed off. Maybe when you're trying to put a lid on a water bottle, it pisses you off and you throw the water bottle. Or when someone makes you upset, rather than getting sad or talking through it, anger will come out. Sign number 2, you are emotionally unavailable or unaffectionate. And this is because, like we said, you learn how to deal with your emotions through your mom. You learn how to regulate your emotions through your mom. And if you're not learning that, then you may not be able to be aware of your emotions. And this is because feelings make you uncomfortable. So anytime there's a situation where feelings come up, maybe you're interested in someone and there's a little bit of a conflict, or you're interested in someone and you're afraid of something negative happening, you are emotionally unavailable, so you may withdraw. Anytime there's a potential relationship, you may steer away. You may only want to do hookups. You may be very inconsistent. So sometimes it seems like you're all in, and then other times you're completely withdrawn. And it's very hard for you to be in touch with your emotions at all. You may not allow people to get deep with you. You may not like to address your feelings or talk out your problems. You can't get too deep, and when things do get deeper, you'll notice that you'll dip out or you want to leave. So physical touch may make you uncomfortable. Connecting on an emotional level, that may make you uncomfortable. So then you don't do it. And because you're uncomfortable with your emotions, you probably are uncomfortable with other people's emotions, and you don't give them a space to be able to have emotions. Another sign is you may be very manipulative. And the reason that you're more likely to be manipulative when you have mommy issues is because you most likely didn't feel like your needs were met, especially emotionally. So when you don't feel like your needs are met, you have to kind of be creative and learn ways to get your needs met. So you may do that through manipulation. You notice with your mom, you couldn't ask outright. You had to make her feel bad or feel guilty before you got what you needed. And you may have learned how to be manipulative by watching your mom manipulate others to get what she wants, or she has manipulated you. So you may have a hard time hearing no, and so you connect with others by manipulating them to give you what you want. And you may be aware you're doing it, or you may not be aware you're doing it. But you will do things like play the victim, be passive aggressive, take digs at others, use people's vulnerabilities or insecurities against them, especially when you're hurt, or especially when that ego kicks in and that wound kicks in and you feel like you're being threatened in some sort of way, or that wound is being poked. You may be vulnerable with people that you're interested in to gain their trust, so that way they'll be more likely to do what you want. Or you may do it to gather information about them, to use it against them, so that way you will have an upper hand, or you can control them easier. The next sign is that you may be disrespectful to women. So your mom most likely has hurt you and has been disrespectful to you, so you probably will also project that onto other women and be disrespectful to them. This also partially has to do with ego, so you may be also easily offended, or you always feel like since you were very much disrespected by your mom, you maybe never really got to set boundaries, you never really got to say no to her, you will overly care about being disrespected, and you may take things very personally, and you may be very defensive. So like I said before, you will project all of this hurt from your mom, and you may think that all women will do this to you. They're all similar to your mom. They're all going to hurt you. So you may need women to prove they are worthy of having your attention or being in a relationship with, but they still may never be worthy because of that lack of trust. And you may make women feel like they're never enough. It's kind of similar to the bully that gets bullied at home but doesn't say anything to the parents. They take all their anger out on all the kids at school. That's pretty much what you do with women. You may also, on a little bit of a level, have some misogyny and hate women, or on a big level. But it's important to admit that if you have this hatred for women because of your mother, because of this hurt, it's not really women, it's your mom. And then you wound up in relationships that were similar to your mom, and you think all women are like this, but no, it's just your pain. The next sign, which is on the complete opposite spectrum, is you may worship your mother. If you had a mom that had hurt you, or maybe was overly critical, or you never felt enough, it's hard to deal with that. It creates cognitive dissonance in your mind. Because on one hand, your mom may be telling you that you need to respect her, she's the best mom in the world, because she tries to create this small world where it's just you and her, and she seems like the best mom in the world. She may overly help you, overly do things for you, overly coddle you, make you feel like you need her. But at the same time, she's overly mean, overly demanding, and overly selfish. So to be able to deal with this cognitive dissonance, you may put her on a pedestal, and you may put her first, and you don't know how to set healthy boundaries with her, be able to say no. And you may also talk about her a lot to deal with this cognitive dissonance. And what happens is, because it's hard to please her, when someone's in a relationship with you, it's also hard to please you as well. And this is often what people talk about when they talk about men have mommy issues. They more so lean towards the worshiping of the mother and the unhealthy attachment to her. Another sign is you most likely care a lot what other people think. So moms, naturally, they do care about how they come across. They care about their image, how their children represent them. And so your mom probably did criticize you a lot and made you always think about how other people people were feeling towards you, or trying to think about what other people were thinking. Now, you most likely probably care about how you are being perceived, what other people are thinking about you. You want to put out this certain image of how people perceive you. And you may also notice you may manipulate how other people see you because you don't want them to see your vulnerabilities or see the negatives. And you also may care a lot what other people think if you've had a very negative mom, because you've seen her be so negative and drag the energy down. So you may be afraid of being more negative or showing those negative parts of you because you don't want to be similar to your mom. So you'll care about that. And also you may care about how your apartment looks, what you look like, what kind of job you have. You may wonder, are you living up to other people's expectations? So you probably care more about what other people think than you lead on. The next sign is you may be driven by guilt. If you had a mother that used guilt a lot as punishment or to try to manipulate you to do things, you will notice that you're more of a guilt-ridden person. You make decisions based on your guilt rather than what's best for you. And this is because women are more likely to place guilt trips on their children than men, because women are more likely to go based off of their emotions. And so you may have heard things like, what about me? Or if you don't do this, then that means you don't love me. Or, of course, you're doing this to me again. So you may have heard things like that. And so you will wind up always making those decisions out of guilt. And you will most likely give more than you are getting in your relationship with your mother, and also with other relationships, especially your romantic ones. The next sign is you are subconsciously looking for a mother. You may date a mother, you're looking for a mommy. So like I said before, it could cause you to date someone that's very similar to your mom, or you, when you are dating, you'll look for someone that will take care of you or will nurture you or will fit that mommy role. And you may notice you'll act like a little kid. You don't pick up after yourself. You expect your woman or your partner to do all of that for you. You will notice that you want to be taken care of, and so you may ask your partner for money. You will ask your partner to take care of difficult things for you. You may look for that constant approval from your partner and look for them to validate you. You are looking for someone to fill that hole your mom had left, which is something she didn't give you, whether that's love, structure, guidance, or nurturing. And the last one is fear of abandonment, which I will say that's a sign that I'm going to keep in both genders for the mommy and the daddy issues, because it's something that you both will struggle with. No matter which parent leaves, there's always going to be a fear of abandonment. And this is because there is that insecure attachment, and when, like the same thing, like I said, when you're a kid, you can't reason, and so you think that they're leaving because of you. And so what happens is you now don't know what it's like to have a healthy relationship or a secure attachment with your parent, so now you fear that everyone's going to be like that. You know what it's like to feel emotionally abandoned or physically abandoned by that parent, and now you're afraid of someone you love doing that. And this can cause you to become overly needy or avoidant, and it can cause you to self-sabotage your relationships, which I go more in depth about fear of abandonment in my how to deal with abandonment issues, which I will leave right here. But fear of abandonment when it comes to men is different, because you may mainly just be afraid of losing women and female type figures. And that's because you're afraid of losing that nurturing side. You feel like they meet all of those needs. So this is how it affects men. Now next week we're going to talk about how it affects women, and there'll be also a second video on how to heal from it. So what do you guys think? Leave it all in the comments below. And please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and share with someone that you think may need it. Until next time, thanks for watching. Bye guys. Non-discrimination. What am I saying? Listen, scam, I don't want anything to do with you. I don't have any car insurance problems. They threaten me constantly. Okay, get rid of my auto insurance. I don't have any. Girl, you just walk in here like this is your business. You could just walk in here. My dog just walked in and opened the door. Hi, you come to see mommy?